welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be my return to the YouTube channel after almost 4.5 years. Please forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty. It feels like I'm starting all over again, which in a way I am. I'm not very comfortable in front of a camera again, so I'll need to get back to being used to that. So apologies for any speech issues, stuttering, that kind of thing. I'm planning to talk about the reasons that I've been away, what I've been up to whilst I've been gone, and whilst I'm rambling I'll be doing some of my viewers and my subscribers' favourite triggers. I have 3 different boxes sitting beside me, some with the more commonly used triggers and some with the lesser used triggers. And then, other than that, if I still need to ramble past that point, I will probably just grab random things and see what happens. So, I'm going to be attempting to start with something that I know you guys like. So, the Starbucks lids. So, I've written myself a small list of updates to make sure that I don't miss anything important. But sometimes I will just be staying quiet just so that I can get those real good sounds for you guys. Just kidding, I'll come back later. So the clicking will make an appearance, spoiler alert. I'm going to wait for a little bit further in, but so I have some notes down here, but other than that I don't have a script. This was a full notebook, but I ended up using the rest of the pages for my Pokemon binder inserts, so we have a grand total of 2 pages from the notebook, and that is it. But let's start on the life updates. So the last time I posted on this channel, I believe, may have been around about May 2021. Now, during this point, you guys might not, well, you guys probably won't know this, but I showed a partner on the channel at one point photographs, and that person was my fiancé at the time. We have since separated, but I'm currently with the most incredible man on the planet. And me and him have been together for 4.5 years. I met him pretty much just after I stopped posting on the channel, through a mutual friend of ours. And honestly, the past few years have been the best years of my life, for the sake of my mental health, for the sake of my comfort in relationships, for the sake of everything else. There have been other things that haven't gone so well, non-relationship related, but we will come to that. So, the original reason that I stopped posting on the channel wasn't because I didn't want to come back, because that's the most untrue possible thing. I have a deep passion for this channel. I love this channel, but at the time I was starting university and I was studying in college and all of that lovely stuff. I managed to stay in university for only a small short period of time, and then I unfortunately ended up having a mental breakdown and I had to leave. But, well, that's nice. This, by the way, is a nautical 40-year advent calendar. It's incredibly interesting. I don't know if I can get this to focus. Yeah. It's incredibly interesting. So you can set it to the day, the month, and the year, and it keeps track of the weeks for you. So it's got all the way from 2003 up to 2042, which is pretty sick. Anyway, I had to leave university, but as I was doing that, I don't know if at the time, no, I wouldn't have been, I started a business. And I still do work with that company. I say company as if I'm not self-employed. But I now make crystal and semi-precious gemstone jewellery for a living. I built the business from the ground up. I do everything myself, and it's fared me very well during my health issues, which has allowed me to still be able to earn and still work without having to stick to a specific schedule. Let's grab something else. How about cast the nuts? That's better. That's a more interesting sound. So wood tapping's nice. So we'll get to the main bulk of everything, but I have been travelling a lot so that I can try and explore a little bit more, because I've had a lot of health updates, and my worry is that at some point I may not be able to travel anymore due to my mobility. But I keep getting distracted, but it's so there's some good sounds. But my partner and I, we go on trips usually like twice a year, with other like homeland places in between. But we usually go away for my birthday and for his birthday, and that's been our tradition the whole time we've been together. And my favourite place we've been to was Gran Canaria, because it's nice and hot and there's really good food. So I'm going to start with the health side of things, because that's where the priorities lie. That's where most of it is. I have a condition that's quite rare. It's called syringomyelia. Now, I don't expect any of you to have heard of it. If you have, congrats. You've got a lot of medical knowledge. But the condition, it causes nerve pains, it causes all sorts of like neuropathy. I get numbness in my limbs. I can lose control of my hands and drop things. so trust me, this new era of the channel there will be a lot of editing probably, as my cognitive processing, my ability to speak, all of that kind of stuff has been affected by my condition. So apologies if I stutter, or if I pause in between things I'm trying to say, or sentences, like I can't speak in full sentences sometimes. It just depends on the day, but usually I won't film on those kind of days if I'm unwell, or if just things aren't going right, you know. But I'll grab this. This wasn't even one of the triggers I planned on, but we've got it. So my condition was diagnosed in 2019, but my entire childhood, pretty much, I was sick and we didn't know why. And I was constantly in and out of hospital, I was constantly going to doctors, I was constantly like taking new medications and trying other stuff, and none of it was working and we didn't know why. But, ooh. Okay, this squeezing sounds so much nicer. Nicer, that was supposed to be better and nicer, and ended up being nicer. But yeah, so I'm going to be taking a much more casual approach to the channel from here on out. I may, honestly, it's probably just going to be a lot more real. So if anything's wrong, I may not edit stuff out. I may just let you guys see the real me. But these kind of things, they were weighing on my mental health a lot, and I was using the channel as a way to escape from that. But it got to a point where it wasn't working anymore and I had to just take time off for myself. And the time off, which started as, oh, I'm just gonna go away for a couple of weeks or a few days or just take some rest time and then come back, ended up being a much longer time than I would have hoped. So whilst that was happening, I also have a lot of other health issues. I'm now physically disabled, so I walk with a walking stick. I use a mobility walker if I'm really struggling, which thankfully isn't too often for now, but we don't know. Because as far as we can see, there's other issues that don't currently have a diagnosis, and we can't figure that out quite yet. So, I mean, once I do, I can update, but it's been primarily my physical health and my mental health that have been the reason that I haven't been able to film, and that's really nice. Do you guys like that? I like that. I'm gonna actually do some rather experimental stuff today in this video, because we haven't done a lot of stuff on this channel, and I've been watching a lot of Patrick's ASMR. If you don't know that channel, you really should. Absolutely incredible for creativity. Here we go. This is another thing that I wasn't planning, but I found it. main thing about my health, I've had my syringomyelia diagnosed since 2019, but the symptoms started in 2014. However, for some reason last January 2024, my health suddenly declined very dramatically. I went to sleep with an incredibly bad migraine, and I woke up and I'd lost the vision in my left eye. Now, this was extremely distressing to me. It was extremely upsetting to me because my work relies on me being able to use my hands and being able to use my eyes. I need to have the hand-eye coordination to be able to make the stuff that I make. And at that point I didn't have that. Oh, that might be nice and scratching. So, I woke up, and when I realised that I couldn't see out of my eye, it was 5 AM. I was panicking, like I was losing my shit. Pardon my language, but you know what this channel's like if you've been here for a while. And I phoned the optician and I was like, I need to get an eye test done today because I have woken up, I've lost my vision, I don't know what's happening. And they took me in, I got an appointment, I went over. And they said that they couldn't see any sort of damage in my nerves or in my eye muscles and anything in my eyes at all. They said everything was perfectly fine. So it was unclear why that was happening. And then, I think it was 2 days after or 1 day after, I ended up in the hospital with a very severe kidney infection. So I don't know how things work in wherever you guys are. I don't know where things work where you guys are, but here you need to see an optician if it's an eye problem before you can get referred to a specialist or anything like that. So I went and got my eyes checked, and then because they said there was nothing wrong, I went up to the hospital. And oh, I just did the kombucha thing. But I went up to the hospital and the neurologist have checked me out. They said that they're not certain right now. So I'm going to have to get more tests in the future, especially if my mobility declines further. But after the infection, I was going to explain about the infection and I got distracted. Well, seeing I'm ADHD as hell, that could be interesting. If for nothing else, the visuals. I don't even know if the sound of that will be picking up on camera. If not, I'll just edit it out. But I went up, and in the UK your infection markers are supposed to be between 6 and 11 if you have an infection. Mine were sitting at 20. So I ended up in hospital on IV fluids, IV antibiotics, morphine, to help me combat the pain. But I haven't been the same since that month. That January started a whole clusterfuck in my health side of life. In the March, I was doing an event with my business, and I was working at my stall, and I started getting very sick. I started sweating, I started feeling like I was going to faint. I was in pain, I didn't know why, so I had to ditch the event. I had to pack up my stuff and I had to leave, and that's difficult when you sell crystals and you have to wrap everything individually. So it took a while. So I'm sitting in the middle of this event trying to act normal whilst my body is suffering. But eventually, I managed to get home, and I ended up having to go to the doctor. I had to get more antibiotics because I had something else going wrong. But that summer, my mobility started to decline too. So I was still ambulatory at that point. I could still walk on my own independently. It was painful on my spine, but I could still walk independently. Now I can't. So from that summer, let's bring this guy. From that summer, I wasn't able to walk even the smallest amount of distance without feeling extremely exhausted, without my arms feeling like they were made of lead. And it got to a point where I had to think about mobility aids, and I got the cane, I started using that, and I realised how much it was helping, because it was taking some of the pressure off of my upper back, and it was taking a lot of pressure off of my lower back. But I started going to the gym. I started trying to do everything that I could to strengthen my joints, to strengthen my spine, to help me lose a bit of weight. But I am very self-conscious about my weight. I always have been. But I've struggled a lot, and that honestly has been the primary reason that I haven't been on the channel. I haven't felt comfortable in front of a camera. I've barely taken any photos in 4.5 years, because whilst my health was getting worse, I couldn't exercise, I couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't stand, essentially. I could barely move most days. So, oh, that's a nice visual, and it sounds good. But with the help of my incredible partner, I have still been able to work throughout this time. I've been able to keep myself motivated by going back to do things that I used to do years and years ago, like my drawing again. I'm back to singing, I'm back to just doing things that I enjoy. But the most common thing, the most important thing, is that I started collecting Pokemon cards. Now, this has become a problem. So I started collecting Pokemon cards by accident, because one day after an event I was extremely exhausted. I went to this event and I was so ill, and I just felt like absolute shit. And my partner comes up to me at the end of the event, because he was picking me up to go home, and he pulls out a Arceus V-Star box, the premium collection box, with the stars and stuff on it. And he said, I bought this to make you feel better, and we can rip the packs together. And as soon as I opened that first pack, that was me. I have sank so much money into this fucking franchise since November. It's insane. And I'm having the best time doing it. At some point, if you guys want to see, I can maybe record some pack openings, or I can show you some of my collection. I've got some pretty cool stuff. And it makes me really happy that it's something that me and my partner can do together, because he enjoys opening the packs, and he's got the weirdest luck. Like, it's insane. But best story I've got was that my partner and I went to Tenerife, and I managed to find some random packs in a store that were really overpriced. And don't worry, they were genuine. I know the difference. And yeah, I overpaid for that, something chronic. But we went to KFC for our lunch that day, which I know for anyone in America, KFC's usually shit over there, but in the UK it's real good. In Gran Canaria, not Tenerife, it's real good too. But we went to the KFC, and whilst we were waiting on our food, we opened these 4 packs we bought. So we bought 4. We got 2 single packs each. They were sleeve boosters, so we knew they hadn't been tampered, they hadn't been resealed, they hadn't been anything like that. Bought 4 English sleeved boosters. They were, how much were they each? I don't remember, but it was Obsidian Flames. Tell me why, in the middle of this KFC, when I have no sleeves, I'm on holiday, I'm going to have to figure out how to get this card home safely, I pull the top chase card from Obsidian Flames. So, safe to say we had to go back to that really expensive gaming shop, and I bought a Paldean Fates ETB for, again, well overpriced, just so I could have the sleeves. It's a good thing, but my god, although I did pull a full art shiny Paldean Whooper, no, Paldean Clodsire, from the Paldean Fates box, so I've actually still got the Spanish cards. But I don't know if any of you guys know this, but one of my favourite Pokemon, if not the favourite Pokemon, is Mimikyu. And out of that box you get a promo card that's Mimikyu wrapped in a little blanket. It's the cutest thing ever. So that made me very happy. This is actually the box for this tape measure. But I'm going to do some scratching, because I don't often do scratching on the channel. I know it's a very common trigger, but I'm not the biggest fan, funnily enough. So there's part of the cardboard here that's got a crease directly across the middle. It sounds nicer than the main part, so actually you guys can decide. That's the first sound, or I feel like it's nicer over the scratch. Like it's nicer over the bit where it's creased. Anyway, moving along. We shall grab this. So, these, again, off topic from everything else I was planning to talk about. These little things are the coolest thing ever. Trying to be quiet with it, which isn't very easy because they're all very loud plastic. So, they come in these little square things. These came from Poundland. They were mystery cube things, but they all connect together and you can make like a big cube, like a big fidget cube. This is one of my favourite ones because it's so clicky. That sounds really loud, so I'll put that a little bit further back. But I bought so many of these so that I could try and have the full collection. I have almost all of them, and then they stopped selling them. And I'm so sad about it. Oh, another life update I forgot about. I'm currently in therapy because my partner managed to finally make me feel confident enough to be able to go and finally handle the trauma that I've experienced previously. You'll need to tell me which one of these cubes is your favourite. I'll go through every single one individually. You need to let me know which of the squares is your favourite. It's very hard to do this when I'm looking at the screen because it's all reversed. So I need the one that goes here and the one that goes here. But that was the clicky one. This side spins, but it also has a little pop on the middle of it. So I left this piece open so that I could get in to spin it. Because my favourite three things are things that glow, things that spin, and things that click. Oh, something that won't come as a surprise to anyone, but I'm also currently being assessed for autism. They've pretty much said they're confident I do have it, they just have to assess where. So look forward to that update. This one is very fun, and I feel like in the style of Patrick I could do some experimental ASMR with this one where I'm opening and closing it so it looks like a camera lens. So I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Because if you'd like me to do it, I can. There's also this one here where you need to get all the balls in the little holes. I can do it very easily, however it's very noisy, so I'm going to try not to. And there's this one here with the 4 buttons and the switch, well with 3 buttons and the switch. It's quite loud, but they all make a different sound. I like the little switch. This is one of my favourite one of the squares, because this has a deep click. And then these. However, these spin. So they have a small section that spins. So it's like getting 2 for 1. Now, on the other side, as you've seen, we have the spinner. We also have these cogs. Now, all cogs do is turn, which it looks nice, but it doesn't make such a great impact. Like, as a fidget toy, it's kind of boring, I won't lie. Now, I have a lot of fidget toys. I could do reviews on a lot of them. But this square is underwhelming. But the good thing about it is you can do this and it sounds good. I was incredibly disappointed with this one, I won't lie, because this is just a little joystick, right? But I expected that to make a sound, and it doesn't make a sound, and I'm incredibly disappointed with the fact it doesn't make a sound. But the rebound sound of the rubber against the plastic sounds nice. But it's got the same 3 little clickers that the yellow one that I like does. Here. So it's got 3 clickers, and this part in the middle rolls. And this makes a small clicking sound as it pushes. Not the most satisfying thing on the planet, but it's very fun to play with. So for fidget, 10 out of 10. For sound, nah. And this one here just spins. See this one here is satisfying. That's just a quiet little grindy sound. Like that's quiet, that's good. We respect that. I like that one. And then this one here is just a simple little pop-it. But it's hard to get in to pop it out from the back. Which, by the way, that cube would be absolutely useless if you put that one on it. Because how are you popping that back out? You're not. Exactly. But out of all of them, I like this one here that I showed earlier. I like this one here. And I like this one here. I think the camera lens looking one is very fun. And I like that one clicks very softly. But you guys didn't come here for that, did you? Here we go. Now, this seems to be the most popular trigger out of all of my videos. And I understand why. I love it too. I think if you've listened this far into the video, we should probably just keep thinking skies for the rest. What do you think? Yeah. So, the autism thing, it was first investigated in May last year. But I'm finally having the assessment done alongside my therapy because it's the same lady that does that would do this, which is helpful. I've been trying to go back to concerts again. Oh my god, one of the most important things that happened whilst I was gone, I finally got to see My Chemical Romance live. Now, they were my favourite band growing up. Absolute favourite. Nobody could contest that. Every lyric, everything. I used to have lyrics painted on my bedroom wall. My entire wall, on all 3 walls, other than that one over there, used to be band posters. I have the worst MCR addiction. Or at least I did. Now that's not to say I don't listen to them now. Because that's most certainly not true. The only difference is I don't have the walls covered in posters now. It's more of an internal enjoyment. But during their return tour, I was incredibly lucky enough to get tickets to all 3 dates in Milton Keynes, and I managed to get tickets for Glasgow as well. You guys should know by now, hopefully, by the accent, I am Scottish. So, Milton Keynes were the first dates announced, so I travelled down south for those, and they were absolutely incredible. I have never felt more at home in my life. And I will be going to see them again as well. So, the fact that I went from never seeing them in my life to being able to see them 4 times in 1 month was my life goal. And I'm not kidding. I was supposed to see them the same year they split originally. Got hairs on my face, apologies. There we go, got it. But I was too young to go, so my mum said that I could only go if it was like seated and it was this. I was so excited because she told me that after I'd hit 14, which was the age I was in 2013, that she would allow me to go and see them. And then they split up 2 months before my birthday. This is a little pocket hug. This was gifted to me by a vendor who was trading with me at one of my events, and it's the cutest thing ever. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says, "Here's a little pocket hug, please keep it safe and close, then it'll be there beside you when you need it most." I thought that was incredibly sweet. She gave me it because she knows I've been struggling with my health, and she said that she thought it would bring me some comfort, and I swear to God I almost cried. I almost cried. I thought it was incredibly sweet of her. I've just seen it sitting beside me, so I've just grabbed it. What have we got now? Ooh. So this year, I will be, well, not this year, next year I'll be going to see MCR another twice. I am going to be going to Wembley Stadium, and then I'll be seeing them in Glasgow again as well. So I'll be seeing them in London, and I'll be seeing them in Glasgow. The hometown shows are always the best, am I right? Not my fault. I'm trying to make like an equal amount of talking and just trigger sounds. So if I'm pausing mid-sentence to do that, I'm also thinking at the same time to make sure that I say my sentences correctly, but I'm primarily just trying to make sure that there's like a good, even amount. Now all you guys will probably like ones where I'm talking, but I wouldn't be watching a rambling video otherwise. We love stretchy banana. Right, this is something for my other ASMR watchers. Anyone think that this sounds like the squishy bread loaf? Is it Whisper Soft that has that? I don't remember, but it sounds like the squishy bread loaf. I really, really, really hope I don't burst this, because it is filled with cornstarch and it will go everywhere. Almost dropped it there, but I caught it. That may be a common thing, is I may end up kicking stuff, I may end up dropping stuff, I may end up throwing things. It's not intentional, but it'll be funny, and you've got permission to laugh. Oh, I like that. It's the sound of the hands gripping it, I think, that I like the most. Okay. Let's grab two things. I have a straw inside a plastic wrapper, and I have this notebook, which you guys might recognise from the ASMR Alyssa collab video I did, where I was featured in the ASMR with subscribers. It's an incredibly popular video on my channel, and that's the one that I keep getting comments on, even though I was gone for 4.5 years. And I'm rolling with flat hands so that you can hear the crinkles better. Oh, another thing. I attended the Sidemen charity match and it was fantastic. Now, I love Laserbeam. I love him so much. He is one of my favourite YouTubers. However, that man cannot play football. I'm sorry, sir, but you don't have the pace. Oh, I've just spotted something that could be interesting. I've just seen something else that will probably sound really nice, but I have also just had to change my camera battery. Because my camera died whilst I was talking. But it's kind of nice to be hanging out again, so I'm gonna keep recording. And then I'll go charge this battery and then I'll go film some other videos. But I may post this, I may edit and post this whilst my charger, whilst my battery's charging. checking my list to make sure that I mentioned everything, I forgot something that you guys might like. Now, whilst I was changing my camera battery, I looked through the list of life updates that I kept that I wanted to touch on, and I've got one that I think you guys might actually like. If you want a story time on it, let me know. But I actually went to work in a tattoo studio very briefly, and also this guy here reminds me of, if you watch Kira ASMR, Carl the caterpillar, the little poppy caterpillar, reminds me of him. The only difference is this is supposed to be a germ. And his little eyes pop out. Which reminds me, I also got COVID twice whilst I was away. So fun. But I started working at tattoo studio, and then my boss was a massive dick. So I ended up leaving, but there is a lot involved in that story, which actually ended up in getting his studio shut down. So if you want the story, I can give you it. This is the other half of the nautical calendar. So this is the lid. The lid's the calendar, and then there's a little trinket box. I thrifted this and I love it. I love that it's nearly as old as I am, and that I can keep using it until 2042. That's pretty cool. But I think I'm probably gonna head off for now, but there are still a lot of triggers in here, including the classic paper pumpkin. How very appropriate for Halloween, right? So I'm going to probably finish this video here because I know I've been running for at least 40 minutes, maybe 45. I've had to stop the camera several times because the batteries keep dying. So I'm going to finish the video here. And I'm going to say thank you very much if you have listened to it the whole way through. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. If there's any questions about anything that I've discussed, like my health or the channel or my personal hobbies or whatever, just let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. Could maybe even do a Q&A if anyone's interested. Gotta love the spiky ball. so much for watching. Have a great day, have a great night, wherever you are. I appreciate you all so much, but as we always end the video, stay warm, stay safe, but most importantly, stay spooky everyone.